you don't already own a NERF Mega Megalodon or had no plans of picking one up, you might want to change your mind after seeing what's in this video. Trust me, I really do think this is something that just about everybody's going to want to pay attention to because, well, this thing just became even more awesome than it already was. And the Mega Megalodon is already a really good blaster. Rather compact, comfortable, powerful for what it is. It does shoot Mega Darts, but it shoots 20 of them. And it has slamfire, and this mechanism is really nice. Probably the only downside about this thing is, well, one, the price tag, it's $40. And two, unfortunately, this thing has a tapered plunger tube, which means it really doesn't utilize as much of the plunger tube as it could. That being said, plunger tube replacements are a thing, and I know somebody who happens to specialize in that. He just stuffed a long shot plunger tube in one of the NERF Fortnite Desert Eagle things. So, I may have to talk to him about doing a thing to this thing. I'm talking about you, Luchathor13. Anywho, the whole thing about this is, yes, it does shoot Mega Darts, and it holds 20 of them, that's all well and good, but if you've paid attention to, like, the Thunderhawk, for instance, a pretty garbage blaster, but had an excellent mod in the battle cannon, and, well, it was kind of complicated, required some hardware and stuff like that I didn't really want to get into, so I never finished mine, unfortunately. However, an undead dude on Thingiverse has created this. And this is quite obviously a shotgun cylinder for the Megalodon. This drum holds 60 darts, 20 shots of 3, and it requires absolutely no modification to your Megalodon at all, and it works wonderfully. Now, I do have to preface this entire video by saying something happened to my Megalodon. It is broken. I do believe it got probably something set on it, and it did not like that. So your performance may be even better than mine, but this thing works flawlessly. It works really good, and I had to do nothing. Even on the Thingiverse page, it says that you might have to modify cutting this down a little bit so the drum will clear. I have had no issues whatsoever. In fact, this thing is supposed to have a spring in it. Really, all you need is this piece. We'll get rid of that Mega Dart since we don't need you anymore. This little ring, and this part right here, and 4 standard NERF size screws, and a spring that goes in here. I have found that I do not need that spring. Now, your mileage may vary on that one, but I have found that it does in fact work perfectly fine without that spring. It would be nice, of course, to have that spring, but if you don't have one, you can still kind of use it. I just think you might have a chance of this thing kind of becoming undone, because the way this thing works is you're gonna kind of put the ring on like that, and this thing's gonna go on there. And what this does is it allows you to have, well, this movement right here, as you can see. And that just kind of locks into place, and then the spring keeps tension on it so it doesn't move like that. But yes, it can roll back and then push down, and that's how you would swap out drums, because yes, you can entirely swap out drums with this thing, and this mod is completely reversible, so if you don't want to use this drum, you can swap it back out for the Mega Dart drum, or the rival drum, because there's also a rival drum version, and I'm sure there is probably a way, or somebody has already done, a single fire, like single elite dart, which would give you pretty good performance, but honestly, with how good the 3-shot shotgun works, I don't think you're even gonna bother. So to remove your Megalodon drum, you're gonna wanna put something long like an Allen key or something through this hole and depress the spring-loaded button inside the drum. So you can just put that in there, push it all the way down until you can see that the button is getting pressed down. There we go. And then you can just slap this bad boy in there. Now there is 4 screw holes here that you will have to use 4 standard NERF size screws into. I'm gonna take just a moment and see if I don't have a spring that can fit in there, because, I mean, I might as well do it while I have this thing out. So this one isn't quite long enough, although it's basically the perfect diameter, but with this other longer spring in there, I think this will work just fine. So, yeah, that's perfect. So you don't need to have the exact spring, but one close enough will work. And now we're just going to button this up. Now, of course, we have our drum all set up. We can twist that, it's still kind of spring-loaded, twist that, lock it in place. But this takes 60 darts in order to fill it up, so this might take me a little while. But it's time to fill up this beast. Yeah, this is not a fast process. I don't know if there's ever been anything quite as beautiful as this drum right here. And then, of course, we're going to unlock that, make sure it can detent. We're going to unlock that, make sure it can spring in and out. We're going to put it on here. Again, no modification required. It is just going to click in, and then we're going to screw it into place. And it is locked and loaded. And I just want to point out that this is probably now the best shotgun, probably the only primary worthy shotgun besides like the Spring Thunder, but even then, this thing could be used as both a primary and a secondary, because after all, it's certainly not that big, but it is certainly heavy, and it holds 20 shots of 3 darts each, totaling 60 darts. I don't know of anything quite like that in the entire hobby. The only thing that would make this better if you could shove like Stampede internals and basically have a full auto shotgun, but I'm gonna blow your mind here because you might have forgotten already that this thing is slamfire. You can absolutely dominate an entire horde of zombies without even trying with this thing in a blaster that's slightly bigger, obviously thicker, but slightly bigger than a Strike. Now to print out this drum, I used a 20% infill on my Ender 3. This entire thing does fit on the Ender 3. If you have a smaller print bed than that, it probably won't work, and it is a rather big, beefy chunk, but on my Ender 3, it took about 3.5 days to print out the main body and about another 9-10 hours to print out the other 2 pieces, and required roughly about, I'd say, 680-700 grams of filament. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you have a reliable printer, you have several days of access to it, and a whole roll of filament to get this thing printed out. So please keep that in mind. And no, I do not know of anybody who's selling anything like this right now. Maybe a deal will come through in the near future, but right now, as far as I know, the only way you're gonna be able to get this thing is by printing it out yourself. But once it's installed in your Megalodon, you simply prime that back, push that forward, and pull the trigger. And as you probably noticed, the performance is excellent. I do want to refresh your memory that this is a stock, completely stock. I've never taken apart this Megalodon, so let's just take this thing outside and see exactly what it can do. But first, we need to refill that shot that we just took. And yes, this is a rather slow process because it takes 3 darts, but it's honestly not that bad to squeeze another one in there. So this thing and a dump pouch full of darts is going to be your best friend, but I honestly have not range tested this yet. I've only fired it at the wall a couple of times, and I've been extremely happy. So let's go see what it can do. So yeah, without a doubt, this is the most functional, practical shotgun in the hobby that I have seen thus far. Keep in mind those ranges were stock. The spread was excellent, the range is definitely usable, especially for a shotgun, and it's only going to get better from here on out. I guarantee you I can put another 20 feet on those ranges easily, and it is absolutely awesome. A lot of 3D printing to get this done, but it is absolutely fantastic. If you have a 3D printer, this is something you definitely need to print out. Seriously, I know there are people out there who's like, oh, it doesn't hit 200 FPS. I don't need it. It's not a flywheeler. It's dumb. I know those people are out there. They're going to be down in my comments section, but quite frankly, I think they're just missing the entire point, because you can easily sling this off your body. There's a sling point here, sling point up here. There's multiple different ways that you could have this on you, and it's really easy to hip fire. In fact, if you really wanted to, just have the trigger pretty much taped down, and then just pick it up and, you know, prime it off your hip, fire a bunch of shots, put it back down. It has 20 shots, 60 darts, 3 darts per shot. And it's a front loader, so it's very easy to just replace the darts when they're out, when you have some downtime. HVZers, this is your wet dream. This is finally a shotgun blaster that you can use and be proud of. No shells, no gimmicks, no nothing, just straight up functionality. It doesn't have the best range yet. That could be solved with mods. I have not modded one of these things beyond just putting this drum in. And you could carry extra drums without even trying. So if you do have a 3D printer and you want to spend, you know, $30, $40 on filament, print out 3 of these suckers, have 1 on each hip and 1 in the blaster, and you're just going to be good to go for pretty much anything, single engagement you could possibly get into, and destroy entire hordes without even really trying. Don't guess if you've hit your target. Know that you've hit your target with a shotgun. It's one of the reasons why I use double blasters for pretty much everything, because firing 2 darts is better than 1, and well, in this kind of NERF economy, when you can get darts like this for absolutely nothing and knockoff rifle rounds and all sorts of stuff that work better than the originals for cheap, yeah, there's really no reason to. Ammo is not really a problem anymore. Back in the day, Boomco was godsend because, well, Boomco darts could be stepped on and destroyed and everything. They were completely fine, and they were rather cheap. A little bit more expensive than darts, but not a whole lot. How the paradigm has shifted with things like the Adventure Force waffles. I love this thing. And Undead Dude, you have done the best thing that's ever happened to me since I got this channel, which is make my dream come true. Is this a shell-ejecting crazy shotgun like the Trilogy? No, but it's gonna beat the pants off any Trilogy you find out in the field. Do not spend your $35, $40 on a Trilogy. Buy this, make friends with somebody with a 3D printer, or buy like an Ender 3 Pro for 220 bucks and slap it together. It will probably be the best 220 bucks you've ever spent. I cannot recommend this thing enough. You're going to see this again in the very near future, because of course I have to paint it and Walcom it up, but oh man, and yes, for those of you asking, it is possible to convert one of these things into lever action. Obviously, like the easiest way would just be to put a bar that has leverage on this original bar, and then of course there's a pivot point right here, or of course you could just replace this entirely, put a bar up here that connects to that, and mount to this pivot point. The work's already done for you. I know Mr. Nathan is already on his quest to do such things, so make sure you pay attention to his social media and his YouTube channel, but I am absolutely blown away, and honestly, I don't think I'd want to have a lever action version of this, because I think the lever is going to go up to there, and I would rather just slam off darts as quickly as possible with this. And I don't even know what else I would do with this, because I really like the grip. I like the slanted grip. I guess it could be more slanted, but it's compact, easy to do. I really don't know what actual mods I would do this. Even the way it looks, I already like how the Megalodon looks, but if you guys have suggestions, I'd love to hear them down in that comment section, because this thing is just darn cool. And now it's my favorite blaster pretty much ever. This might be the best blaster of 2019 so far, just because of this mod. I am absolutely blown away. I love shotguns. Obviously I'm biased, but finally, after years and years and years, I have a shotgun that I know I could take to a local war and actually use. But let me know what you think about the Megalodon alternative drums down in the comment section. Like I said, there is one that is a shotgun rival too, if you're into that kind of thing. I'm certainly not, but whatever happens to work for you. Otherwise, I'm Walcom S7. Thank you so much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta